Welcome to the quiet ambition. The prepaid problem. The quiet story she had already paid. That was the detail that kept surfacing afterwards, whenever she retold it, not the state of the room, not even the fear, but the fact that the booking was non-refundable and she had told herself standing in the doorway that she would just have to make it work. The accounts pile up if you go looking for them. A young couple arrive at a hostel to find the shared rooms have effectively been taken over by a group of aggressive, territorial guests who make clear that outsiders aren't welcome. It escalates until police have to be called, and the couple end up standing on the pavement outside, reasoning that the street is safer than the room they paid for. A solo traveler is confronted in her room at night by a manager who shouts at her over a billing misunderstanding, and tells her, more or less, that her safety isn't his concern. A family finds carpenter ants living in the carpet of a reputable chain hotel, and spends the night picking bites off a toddler, because the alternative, packing up at 11 p.m., eating the cost, finding somewhere else, feels like too much of an overreaction to something that is, after all, just for one night. What almost none of these stories have in common is an early exit. What they have in common is a long middle section, where someone who already sensed the room was wrong stayed in it anyway, doing the quiet arithmetic about the money already spent, the lateness of the hour, the awkwardness of complaining, the possibility that it might still turn out fine. The insight: there is a particular kind of paralysis that has nothing to do with the room itself, and everything to do with the receipt. Once money has changed hands, the mind treats the transaction as a kind of contract with reality, as though having paid for comfort entitles you to eventually receive it, if only you wait long enough, or complain politely enough, or simply endure. This is the prepaid room problem, the conviction that because you have already invested money, time, identity, the social cost of having chosen this, you are now obliged to extract value from it before you're allowed to leave. It is a bad piece of reasoning even in a hostel. It is a far more expensive piece of reasoning everywhere else. The quiet rebellion. The travelers who left the worst of these places, mid-booking, non-refundable, in the dark, with nowhere confirmed to go. They describe it afterwards not as recklessness, but as the first clear-headed decision they'd made all night. One woman, confronted by a hostile owner and an unsafe room, chose the pavement outside over the bed inside, and called it, without irony, the safest she'd felt since arriving. That is the rebellion this issue is actually about, not the dramatic exit for its own sake, but the refusal to let a sunk cost keep making decisions on your behalf. Walking out of a room, a job, a firm, an identity, before you have the next one confirmed, is not chaos. It is often the first honest audit you've done in years. The quiet ambition exercise: name one room you are currently staying in because you already paid for it. A job, a title, a way of being seen, a plan you announced before you'd fully tested it. What leaving would cost you now, then what staying is already costing you, quietly, every week you don't name it. Put the two lists side by side. Notice which one you've been pretending not to see. The quiet mantra: the booking is already spent. What you do next is the only real decision left. The reflection: the prepaid room problem doesn't announce itself. It just quietly turns the cost of leaving into the only cost you're willing to look at. Where in your career have you been making it work long after the booking was clearly wrong? And what would it take to admit the cost was already spent? Follow the quiet ambition for more on the quiet cost of staying too long.